It's
Damn.
alive. Wow, it's like
that
pulsating.
thing is alive.
Did you guys ever see that movie Alien?
This is more like The Thing.
I thought you were going to say Orgasmo.
Well, I did see that, yeah. There was no pulsating foam in that movie, though.
Oh, okay. There's something pulsating.
There should have been.
So we're coming back.
I think there should be pulsating foam in every movie.
You're right about
Welcome
that.
back from the break, everybody.
We're coming back, and we've got some beers that we want to try before we get into the Golden Ale section of this. We already have been trying some of the beer that Chris brought, which was Brandon's grapefruit or salted grapefruit saison that they did at the Captain Hare Big Brew recently, and it had the Omega Farmhouse yeast on it. And yet again, it is a win.
Yeah.
Omega.
Yeah.
Gushing is exactly what's happening over here, but we still can't say much. That is a fantastic yeast. I mean, and it really works well with what you did with like the salt character in that recipe and whatnot. I think so.
Yeah, and to give credit where credit is due, that's also Sean Mason and I both developed that recipe together. And every time we brew it, we're just like, damn, we really, really love that recipe.
So you unmuted it.
But with the farmhouse yeast, it brings out even more of the flavors that make it even better. That yeast just really makes that beer
This
pop.
is a beer for Stubby that we're pouring.
Is it? Or
Oh,
are you
you're
being
going to like it.
sarcastic?
It's going to crawl
Yeah,
out
you're
of
going
the
to love
cup.
this.
No, I'm probably not. If they were saying that.
I like it. It's good. Despite the fact that it's very much alive, I guess.
That's muy interesante.
Yeah, it's tasty.
So,
Spicy.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
So
Chris
it's
brought some beer, so-
Grapefruit?
So the
get
place that I
ginger.
bought these from is called City Acre Brewing in Houston. They're on the north side of Houston. They're on a 1-acre garden that they get all their fresh ingredients to add to their beers for. And this one is called their Tepache Blonde. It's based on a lightly fermented traditional Mexican drink. This one combines cinnamon, pineapple, and palonca.
Palunca?
Piloncillo.
Piloncillo.
Piloncillo brown
Oh,
sugar
I thought he was-
to make an easy drinking dessert beer is what.
That's why it's like this, because it's still fermenting. I'm not. No, really. I mean, I think that's what's happening here. This in the can.
But I got this at their second anniversary event.
Man, it is freezing in here.
It is cold. Really cold.
But
I turned that bitch down to like 62.
Yeah, that's about right.
I went to this place with my girlfriend. She found them through her work, which they do beer and donut pairings there. And
It tastes kind of like a donut.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what really impressed her was that all their beers, that they described them as tasting like something. And like I tasted this one and I'm like, it tastes like apple pie. And
I
she's
don't
like,
get that.
She goes, bullcrap. Nothing you say tastes like anything ever tastes like that as a beer. And then she tastes it. She's like, oh, I actually like this.
This doesn't taste like apple pie.
I don't get apple pie. It has. I think did you say pineapple?
Yeah.
The combination of the pineapple and the cinnamon has a ginger flavor to
yeah,
it.
see,
Yeah.
I thought ginger
Yeah.
was what I thought immediately.
Well, when I first tried it and I saw what was happening out of the can, I thought, is this some sort of ginger beer? Because I know how those will just keep
Right.
going and going and going,
I like it.
They'll blow stuff up.
I wasn't sure what to think at first. It took me 2-3 drinks
me
to
too.
really get used to what was happening, but I like it.
It's good.
It is easy drinking, I think.
I thought it was going to be a mead.
No, I'm not going to pour you a mead, Stubby. I know better.
He'll drink it.
Yeah, I'll drink it.
Yeah.
He'll
This
hate
is
it.
a thing you hate. You want to drink it? Yeah.
I'll complain about it.
Well, that's part of the
Why did you give me
pros
that
and
thing?
cons, right? I mean, that's the thing there.
Hey, man, I got to try it, dude.
Yeah, I think
I'm
this is
still
pretty
keeping
good,
an
though.
open mind.
The more I drink this, the more I like it. It really grows on
I
you.
like it, and I think that like the freshness quality of it, it's probably why it's
Yeah.
doing what's happening in the can. Now the next one does it, maybe not. But
Well,
I mean, because
we'll
it's
see here.
hazy, it looks like there's stuff in suspension, So.
They pride themselves on doing things really fresh. I talked to their head brewer, Matt Schalbach, rather, and he said that Schalbach. He said that the way they do things is they'll load the kegs with the fresh fruit, or they'll load the fermenters with the fresh
that
fruit
makes
and
sense.
ingredients, and then pour the beer on top of it. So
That
instead
makes
of-
sense why it might be doing that in the
See,
can.
it wasn't meant to sit for as long as it did.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really the
yeah.
key. Even in a fridge, I mean, some of these things can
Oh yeah, that's probably exactly what happened. Is they're meant to be drank,
Man,
that
when
day
I-
or the day after, and this has been sitting in the can for.
And I
a
like
week
the
and a half.
idea of freshness like that, where it's like we're not keeping this to.
I
You
really
know,
like dried apricots.
Yeah.
And it makes me I eat like 15 or 20 of them, and it makes me spew just like that can does. I ain't kidding you. There's a lot of fiber in it.
It always comes back to that for Stubby.
You see stuff
Taking a
very
big shit.
active,
Bodily
yeast culture in his
functions.
body. So
Where's Stubby? He's taking a shit somewhere.
Yeah. It's because I had them
see how
15
this one
dried
comes across
apricots.
here.
What's the next one?
The next one is called Buried Skull. It's a Kolsch with blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries.
Oh,
Sounds good.
Kolsch.
let's.
Dude, you smashed the shit out of your finger, didn't you?
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Thanks.
Okay.
That was a drill that got away from me.
I got a little bitty.
You at least got to show the camera now.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
boy, that looked like it hurt.
All
It
right.
looks like black nail polish.
Yeah,
I figured he was just
I thought.
painting it.
Yeah, I thought.
That whole thing's coming off at some point. You know
that's
that, right?
exactly what my coworker said. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
I thought he was like fresh from a rave or something. He was.
Do people
So
still do that goth thing?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that looks like what's that? Strawberry Quicks.
Quick.
Strawberry Quicks. You mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
mean
like
the
that.
strawberry milk?
Quicks.
Yeah, strawberry milk Quicks or whatever.
Quicks.
What you got there? Some of that dang on
Dang on, dang on.
Strawberry Quicks, mate.
Quicks
Yeah,
is
some
for
of them Quicks.
quids.
So this is their normal
Holy cow.
Kolsch
50
that they
quid?
make, and they just added
Smells
blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries that they either grew locally on site or got from one of the local farm co-ops.
It's
What
pretty.
you said? This is worth 50 quid. Is that what
Oh,
you
that's
said?
good. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
good.
was you. You said quids
nice,
as a
isn't it?
kid.
Yeah, that is good.
That's really good.
Quicks is for quids.
Kolsch is a style that I could see really supporting fruit. So
Yeah.
this is good.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, that's delicious.
It is. It's delightful.
It's a really bright berry flavor
Right.
that comes
Yeah.
through in it.
And it
both
didn't
of these,
spew all over my floor.
yeah, well, and both of these,
Still cleaning it.
I think they both taste really fresh.
Yeah.
like they were just done recently.
When did you actually have these canned?
They canned them before their second anniversary.
No. When was that? How long have they been in a can?
A week and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
That's
pretty
good, man.
beer.
And this
It's
one
a
I could
little
see
bit
not
cloudy,
going
but
as
you
far.
can still see through it. It's a
I mean,
nice looking beer.
It was in the can and transported in the back of my car from Houston, and then instantly went into a fridge as soon as I got home. But
I think your other beer, the first beer, still has some live
Yeah, I
activity
agree.
in
Yeah.
it. So it just can sit with the cold and be live.
they also had one that I wanted to bring some of, and that I couldn't. They ran out of. It was called Banana Betty, and it tasted exactly like banana nut bread.
Nice.
Like
Not diacetyl.
no,
Whatever.
like-
okay.
bananas, nuts, dark
Whoa.
brown sugar toffee.
Interesting.
It was bready. It was. I wanted some, and they're like, "Sorry, it's all gone."
These are good, dude. Thanks for bringing them. Is this-
Yeah, very nice beers.
Yeah, I'll
I
make
have
sure
two
to.
more.
You have two more? All
Dude,
right.
when-
Break
Actually,
'em
this,
down.
this first one, as it sits here, there's a little bit left in the glass. It's like starting to settle out some. There's
Yeah.
stuff in suspension.
Yeah, the haziness of that. There's live activity.
I really
in that
like it.
still, That's why.
So
This-
later
the
on,
cinnamon
there's
is-
going to be some live activity going on.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's for sure.
Is it? Don't tell me this one's got lactose in it.
I'll say, hey,
No.
baby, put your head under the covers. I'm gonna go ahead and spit on the ceiling. She falls for it every time.
Oh my goodness.
This
Yeah.
one's called Suspiria. It's a blonde with blood orange on it.
Or an Italian murder movie.
That's what I'm
About
about to get
witchcraft.
into.
Or a Phil Collins song, I think.
Suspiria.
For
I
real?
can smell it already.
Never afraid to reach.
So it's named after a classic Argento
Yeah.
horror movie with lots of bright and colorful blood. It's made with blood oranges and hibiscus, but it was named for the head brewer's wife, who's a professional horror and genre film.
Whoa,
editor.
dude.
That's awesome.
Holy shit, the aroma off this is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's incredible.
Oh, I thought you said a professional whore.
Oh, Jesus!
Good Lord.
Oh, hey,
Well, that's what it sounded
That
like.
was
If she's
amazing.
professional, then it's a
You
respectable.
didn't even let him get all the way through the word, and you passed judgment on it.
I was saying, good
Whoa.
lord, to the belch.
That was a good one, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that
I
was
was pretty happy with that one. Wow,
That's
that's
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
You know what this could use? A touch of salt.
Just
Yeah.
a touch.
Just a
yeah.
touch, yeah.
Just a touch, and it makes me.
It almost smells a little bit like Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
to me.
But that blood orange is crazy strong in that. So
Do you know what this makes me want to do? Makes me want to do a blood orange Berliner.
yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Absolutely.
Not a banana and some nuts.
No nuts.
And then
One big banana and some walnuts.
They're called
know-
bollocks.
You
Just
know,
FYI.
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put some of that in this raspberry beer here.
Oh, well, look at you go.
Infusion.
so,
Brand-
That's good.
Brand-
Yeah.
that was my
Brandon,
least
Really
favorite.
good.
Brandon the blender.
I like
It's
this one.
you know, the initial impression of it is really good because the aroma is really bright and just strong with the blood orange, but I think it's a little too much orange.
You know what?
actually.
You know what it reminds me of, and I don't like it. Grapefruit juice.
Oh, see, I love grapefruit juice.
I don't like grapefruit juice.
I had to stop drinking grapefruit juice because it
You're so negative. Stuff.
messes with your medicines,
Medication.
Yeah,
Your
'cause of my
medicine.
medication.
medicine.
Erwin,
pass me a bottle
bring me
opener,
my
Brandon.
medicine.
Pass you the what? Oh, the bottle
Bottle
opener.
opener.
Yeah, there you go.
This last one is from their Cellar series. It's called Spring Break.
Sprang.
What's the name of this
Sprang.
brewery again?
City Acre Brewing.
Suspiria.
That's Sperry is the name of that beer. City Acre
Oh.
Brewing is the name of the company.
I could see how this would be a really fun brewery to go to.
Oh yeah, it was a really great space that they're in.
Yeah.
Is that you walk into their front gate and it's their garden where they're growing all these ingredients that they get their extracts from, and then they've got their brew house off to the side, a little tap room, and then the kitchen, and then on the back end of the property they have an event space where they do like wedding receptions, and it's an old classic
Downtown
American
Houston.
ranch house style house.
It said north side of Houston, right?
North side of Houston, yeah. Inside the
So-
belt.
That means from here you can get there before you hit the traffic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's out towards the woodlands.
Not that far north.
Not that far. Okay.
But,
You still hit traffic,
I'm going to
It is
Houston in a couple
Houston,
weeks.
yeah.
even at the water.
That sucks.
Yeah, I know.
So we'll see you in a month.
Does that Suspiria one give you like a kind of a rose garden in your mouth a little bit?
A rose garden in your mouth.
Yeah. I mean,
Something tells me there was a little more to that
It's kind of
question that kind of got lost.
So this one is
well, I knew what it was going to sound like when I finished saying
Like
it,
a
so-
floral rose.
Yeah, it's
type-
got like a rosy floral kind of.
I
thing
don't
going on
get
there.
that. No.
You don't?
No.
Wow.
It's a really pronounced orange flavor. I think it's a little too much orange, actually. The
It's-
aroma is really nice, but the beer is kind of overpowered by the orange, I think.
I think on my tongue it's very citrusy and orangey, kind of like you're saying, but in my nose it's like a garden.
I get a
going
lot
on.
of the pithiness.
I could see in the nose. Yeah,
It may-
I see what you're talking about in the nose. Yeah.
When you say you get a little bitterness, like pithy bitterness from the peel, maybe.
I
Yeah, and
definitely
that
do
sits
on
on that sits on your tongue, but
I hate that.
I've
I like it in some spots.
I mean, I get that in a lot of beers, and I just don't like that pithy bitterness. Bitterness from the peel. I don't like that.
What's this last one?
Yeah, what is
again?
it?
This last one's called Spring Break, and it's from their what they call their Cellar Bounty series. It's a couple of the ones that they age in bottles and keep in their
really
cellar.
good.
This is classic Marzen beer, soured with Brettanomyces and Lactobacillus, and re-fermented with City Acre grown estate blackberries, blueberries, Wood Duck Farm strawberries, and wild forage dewberries.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
That is by far my favorite one of these, and I've liked every one of them. That's really good.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what's the berry character in this. It's just
It's
the
all the
blend of
berries.
all of it.
It's all the berries.
all the
yeah.
berries.
all the
Yeah.
berries.
So it was one of those things I
Dewberries.
tasted, and I'm like,
Snozzberries.
I have to bring some home.
Yeah, that's really fantastic.
And they
The,
only
the
made
sour to it
76
is
bottles of it.
fairly subdued. It's not overly sour. It's a nice.
I wonder how much of
smooth,
that's berry.
lactic sourness with some depth to it, and then the berry flavor kind of the sweetness kind of evens out the sourness some. So it's just a touch. It's really nicely done. The only thing I think that would
That's
make this a little bit
7%.
better would be if there was some
Better aroma.
if it was wood aged.
I don't like the aroma.
Oh, I like the aroma.
Do
Yeah.
you?
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
You
Yeah.
want to taste
I
it
get
in
more
everything.
Brett in the aroma than the flavor character.
Yeah, it's
But-
right there on the nose for sure.
But this
And I feel like
Ooh.
the sourness actually has some of just full on berry,
Yeah.
like the sourness that comes
Yeah.
from the berries alone.
It's
you know,
super
so-
complex, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot to it.
And this
Well, I
is
think there's
a-
something for everything, for everybody. I personally like the Colts the best, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
The Kolsch was real good. Yeah, I like the Kolsch a lot too. That was my second favorite.
I like the
one.
first beer actually,
Yeah,
quite a
I
bit.
Like, I like the blonde the most, followed by the Kolsch, and then the Spring Break, and then the Sperry the last. But this one was bottled on the 28th of June 2016.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
this is a 2-year-old bottle.
Oh yeah,
It's
Yeah.
good.
nice. It's the,
All
be-
right.
it's the best
That's a
tasting
really
diaper
excellent
change.
Chris,
beer.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
bringing
thanks
those.
for bringing
those
those,
beers,
those
dude.
are really interesting beers. They're a lot of juice.
Really appreciated Matt from City Acre talking to me and giving me a tour of his brew house and talking about his brewery. And
I'm definitely going there.
All right, before we get
Check it
into
out.
the golden ale topic, we have a few things we need to take care of housekeeping wise. The post coupon code of the week is going to be related to our golden ales tonight. We've went ahead and we gave Austin the recipe today, and he's working on a kit for all this. And our coupon code is going to be for this kit. I'm not sure exactly our percentage on this. We're going to have to post this one with this, I guess. But I think our coupon code is golden shower.
That's right.
Yes.
So
Golden shower.
I don't know what the percentage off of like the kit's going to be. It's going to
probably
be
be
ready
10
probably by
or 15%
Monday
off,
of
yeah.
next week from today. So 10-15% off that. So watch for that one. We'll get that one out there for you. This is going to be this recipe. I think is Nigel and I both agree that we much closer to what we actually initially aimed for when we started this.
I agree
experiment.
from
So-
what I've tasted on it. And one of the things I think about this style, I think that this style could be huge in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting blend of like a Pilsner and American Pale Ale. It's got a lot of depth with a lot of drinkability to it, is what I like about it. And
flavor.
from what you've done in all the different iterations of it, you can use all different kinds of yeasts on this and get all kinds of different
Yeah,
beers out of this
yeah.
one thing.
And you're going to
I-
find that tonight.
I would highly encourage you, if you're a listener to this show and you trust us at all, when this kit comes out, go out and buy it, because it's a really excellent drinking beer. This is the kind of thing that if I had a keg of it, I'd blow right through it.
Yeah, it's easy
Well,
to drink. so.
and I think this is one of the things that I think that we try to reiterate time and time again is when you buy one of our kits, it's not just a one-off deal. I mean, these guys, man, brewed this shit I don't know how many times. I mean, we
or with
brewed
how
it.
many yeasts.
Yeah,
it's-
and I mean, they probably had 20 different versions of it before they go, okay, we really like that. We feel like we've finally gotten to where we like it and where it should be. So we're just not throwing stuff together. These are things that we research.
Now, this is
and
really
try.
based off what you heard in the last time and just our discussion and what we thought would make it better and, all those examples. As we pour this, we'll keep going with some of our other patron-related things. Our weekly patron listener prize key phrase is put a bird on it. I use that for Portlandia because we were just there.
Nice.
Put a bird on it. What do we want to give away this week, Stubby? 20...
I think a Come and Brew It T-shirt.
Come and Brew It T-shirt. All right. So whoever gets the key phrase on Patreon, on that post on Patreon right now, put a bird on it. It'll be the first person. I'll get in touch with you about that, and you're going to Come and Brew It T-shirt. And I think we missed one, but since I remembered it for this one, we have our June patron prize drawing
Eric,
out of our group of patrons. And I've got that in my hand already. So,
and you put all the new guys in there, right?
yeah, I've got Brandon Grigsby.
Brandon Grigsby.
Good
Congratulations, Brandon.
good.
What
man.
what is our patron prize drawing for this month?
I think it's a $20 gift certificate.
All right, Brandon, I'll be in touch with you for that
Excellent.
one. So that's coming up. So every month we're going to do that, and of course every week we do the same for our Patreon patrons that we can that we can give prizes away. So if you're listening and taking part, man, we're trying to give something back every time. So
Yeah, and that's what makes it all possible. The whole reason that we were even at Homebrewcon was because from you guys, and it really helps us out. We spend a lot of money on Ubers and these guys, they're here for free of charge. I'm not paying them to be here. That they really enjoy doing this, and this is all just to help us out. And I mean, any little thing counts. If you really enjoy one episode, just think about buying us one beer a month. I mean, that's all that we ask, and it makes a big difference in what we're able to do, what we're able to contribute, and we really appreciate it for sure. That's what makes this thing happen for sure.
We really do appreciate it. Every
Yeah,
time
we
we
do.
pick up a Patreon, it's a big topic of discussion for us. It means a lot to us. So thank you to the people who are supporting us. And if you've ever thought about it, please go on there and do what you can.
And we're gonna, and as we go and grow, we're gonna make this program even more and fun, and even more prizes and giveaways, and we're gonna start giving away anniversary gifts and stuff like that. So just keep on giving and keep on helping out.
And if you come brew with everybody, become friends.
Yay.
We like friends because we don't have any others other than this room right now.
That's about it.
So let's get into this style and the recipe development that you went through and everything, because I'm looking over the recipe here, and it's the grain bill on it is very different from what I would have expected the first time we drank these when Nigel brought them back from England, and the discussion that we had about them. And I think that y'all went into the initial recipe development with a certain idea in mind, and found that you needed to depart from that some, right? Particularly with the base malt. Like, I remember when we
Right.
drank the first beers, the opinion around the table was a lot of these could be brewed with 100% Pilsner malt. That's it.
Right.
Just Pilsner and no specialty malts, nothing like that. And I know that hearing your discussions on the different iterations of this and looking at how this recipe came out, that's definitely not where you landed.
Okay, so let me just butt in here. The first beer I poured of the Golden Ales tonight is not one of the iterations from the experiment. It's my version of Summer Lightning.
That's right.
Okay,
Okay.
Which one is that?
It's delicious.
it's my version of
Is this one?
Summer Lightning. Yeah, that Golden Ale I just poured you.
I've
Okay.
got so many damn beers in front of me.
Well,
I
it's
don't
the
know
one.
what's what.
It's the one that's golden.
There's no other colors to it.
It
That's
doesn't look like fruit juice.
that's 100%
Yeah.
Marisada.
Is it?
Okay.
Yes, 100% Marisada. So
Well, I want to hold this up for the camera here. Eric, can you switch here? If you look at that, that is a very nice
Yeah.
pale.
You're going to see a
golden
lot
beer.
of differences in these, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no specialty malts, correct?
No
zero,
specialty malts
zero
anything.
in that. Now, I didn't quite.
Did you
hit
put
what
corn
I-
sugar in them?
Not in this one, but in the iteration of the experiments that we've done, yes, there is some corn sugar in there.
Let's
But-
talk
but-
about this one in
yeah.
particular first here.
So, where you was right saying that we discussed in the first version of 100% Pils malt, but then we went away from that. You can do a single malt Golden Ale,
Mm-hmm.
and commercial example of one, Summer Lightning. Now, I didn't quite hit it with this. I'm going to make a couple of changes to it when I rebrew it, just because I don't think this quite hits the mark. But I mean, as far as the malt bill goes, yeah, you can keep it absolutely simple.
There's
You know-
Fuggles in this, right?
No,
Really?
there is Challenger and EKG, I believe.
Really?
You know what I would say about this? The thing that I think doesn't do it for me, I think everything else is there. I think the Marisada's too much. I mean, I really do. It's imparting a lot of character.
Right.
I mean, so much so that I don't think it's I don't think it's not dry. I just think it's imparting enough character,
A little too heavy.
like the toasty, bready flavor, that it doesn't taste like what I
think I would
expected.
agree with you.
more
on
of a
that.
bitter.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just don't get you get that kind of toasty flavor that's kind of strange, I guess, in this particular style for me. But I mean, now if this was like a little bit of caramel malt in there, I'd be like, hell yeah, this would be a great bitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the reason I don't think this hits it as far as Summer Lightning is concerned is because I don't think it's in your face enough with a little bit of sharpness on the bitterness.
I don't think it has the American hop character that I got from most of those.
Right,
Golden
but
Ales.
Summer Lightning doesn't have that.
It
So-
had like a citrusy hop note to it, if I remember correctly. Now, there's been a lot of beers since then, so
Right.
I might be wrong about that. But
So
that was one of the characteristics I thought that stood out about those beers, is they had a kind of a citrusy, bright hop character.
it
to them.
did have a bright in your face kind of sharpness on the bitterness, but then it was a real dry finish.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Which there's less dryness.
No,
with
This,
I
this
mean-
has a nice dry finish to
Right.
it too, I think.
Yeah.
It just has that earthy. That's why I asked about if there was Fuggles hops, because it's that dirty, earthy English hop character in it that I get. I'm surprised
Yeah.
that EKG is the flavoring hop in it.
Yeah, Challenger and EKG. An ounce, 1.4 ounce of Challenger at 60, and then an ounce of EKG at 10, and an ounce of Flame Out.
Really?
See, I
Okay.
mean, I really like this beer. I think
I think it's
if you
fantastic.
if you brewed it again without the Marisada, I think it would be phenomenal.
Well,
I
I
really do.
wouldn't. I wouldn't change. I would continue to brew this just to, not as an attempt to hit the golden ale, but just as a great
Yeah,
beer to
yeah,
have
yeah,
on
it's a
every
good
drink.
beer.
I might just cut it with
This
some
is
Pils
really
malt.
an excellent beer,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah.
Might-
See, that's something that, like, when they talk about the ingredients for the golden ale, low color pale or lager malt acting as a blank canvas for hop character. May use sugar adjuncts, corn or wheat, English hops, American hops. But another one, well-hopped quenching beer with an emphasis on showcasing hops, served colder than like a traditional bitter and whatnot. It's like this feels a little heavy.
Right.
And that description, to me, it feels a little heavy-handed as far as like the just the base malt character,
Yeah.
just Maris Otter, you know. So,
Well, and I think what Brandon was saying is this is a very good drinking, easy to drink beer. But if you're actually judging it for competition, I don't think it quite hits the mark. I mean,
Right.
I would think that this would probably be a good high 30s beer.
Right. Well, to me, this is one of those that I would brew, trying to brew something else, and go, okay, well, I'm not going to brew this to try and brew that again, but I'm going to keep brewing this because
Right.
it's so
Good.
good.
Yeah.
This is really an outstanding beer.
Well,
I-
like,
I
yeah,
could
like-
drink this all day long.
Absolutely.
Like I
on
say,
cask it'd be good.
yeah, it would be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
It would.
absolutely.
It would be good cask beer.
I think I'd like
Really
to cut
good,
it with
right.
some Pils malt and probably increase the bitterness a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the bitterness. For me, I mean,
I think the bitterness is right on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do too because I mean, as I'm drinking this, I mean, it does have some lingering bitterness.
But if I'm going for a beer that showcases the hops, I don't think. In its
You know, if you cut it with the pills, the hop
the
hop
hops will
may
come
stand
through.
out more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I
So-
think it would too. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. change
I
the
wouldn't
hops.
change the bitterness.
Okay.
What yeast did you use?
Mangrove Jack Liberty Bell.
Okay.
That's my
Yeah.
my favorite yeast. Because to me, that was one of the things I thought the yeast character in this is just perfect.
Right, and I think that I'm finding I was never a huge fan of that yeast simply because I thought it was too clean for an English yeast. But I think
It's on the
this-
clean side for
yeah,
sure.
but I think this is the golden ales. I think are its niche in English beers.
Well, and you know, we discussed that a few when you were
Right.
using some of the like the 1469s
Uh-huh.
and some of. It was just too much English
Right.
character for this
Yeah.
this beer, and I think it was overpowering. There's just so much esters, because I mean, really, it's a pretty simple beer.
Yeah.
And then when you have all these English weird, you know, like it almost seems like a flaw because there's like all these pear and these apple esters and stuff like that stone
Well,
fruit
when-
esters.
when you
is
have
just,
when you have a lot of good base malt character to prop it up, that stuff's fine. But with the golden ales, when you drop that base malt out of the bottom of it,
Right.
all of a sudden those esters come to the front, and you're right, it's
just
a little
like-
too much.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I really love the yeast character in
I
this
really
one.
love
though.
that. In
Yeah.
these ones.
That was good.
Yeah.
Especially
Uh,
it smells.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
this
smells
is
sweet.
fantastic, doesn't it? Yeah.
so the one you did, Greg, is the same grain bill, correct? And the same hopping.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna start.
Yeah,
I
we've
think,
got
with the-
4. So that Summer Lightning was a one-off beer by
Okay,
itself.
that
Right,
was-
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
So the 4 we're about to pour are all the same grain bill, all with different yeasts.
It's
Okay.
just the
Fermented
only
the same
difference is we changed the grain bill compared to the last time we talked about it, and then
you want to
we
mark
have.
them with a Sharpie so we can keep them apart.
So
you want to
this
start with
is-
the 05?
This is where I wanted to get into the grain bill that we talked
Yeah,
about
okay.
because look, there's not percentages on here, so I will go with. I'll just go with the actual pounds that you used.
This is for a 12-gallon batch.
So this was for a 12-gallon batch, 10 pounds of Mutton's Pale Ale malt. So that's a little bit,
That's
a
the propino.
little bit darker than your standard 2-row
Yeah, like by one Lovabond.
by 1 Lovabond. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're at 2 Lovabond and you go
Right.
to 3.2, that's
Yeah.
50% more. So it is a noticeable difference. And then 8 pounds of Pilsner, a pound of flaked barley, and a pound of dextrose or corn sugar. So
Let me ask you, what were you using the flake barley for?
that was the interesting part that caught my eye also.
Same as before, like head retention, because it was a very compact head on the beers that we tried, and then just to give it a little bit more oomph
this
and
one?
dry it out.
I guess this is the first. Yep.
This is the first one.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason I poured this one is because it also uses Liberty Bell yeast. So we got a tie-in from the Summer Lightning and into this.
So that covers the grain bill on it, which really you're kind of trying to do a half and half, where you have that light sweetness from the Pilsner malt, but also just a little bit of the pale ale malt to prop it up so it doesn't get too light and thin. You've got some corn sugar to boost the alcohol and dry it out a little bit, and then some flaked barley to add a little bit of head retention and a little bit of mouthfeel to it. And then we get to the hops. And the hops are basically a blend of American and English hops. You've got some Magnum in there to bitter it, but your
Clean bittering.
It's just your bittering is not necessarily continental in any way. It's just a clean bitterness. Then you've got your Centennial, East Kent Goldings, and Centennial in the flavoring and the aroma hops. And
we really focused a lot of this with the Centennial based off what the description is. Because the last time, none of us were happy with the hop character, feeling like there just wasn't enough flavor in any of the beers that we had for that. And
that
like
is the
we
distinct
really,
difference between this one and your other ones that I've tasted, is that the hop flavor in it is very bright and fruity.
Which
Right.
is what
And
I
well-
believe is missing from that Summer Lightning.
Also, I know that you guys. I think this is an integral part to this particular recipe or this particular style is water chemistry. I think it's imperative, because I think when you guys started messing with that and changed the water chemistry, it really came alive. I really think that it made a big difference in this style.
and we did lean this towards bitter,
Yeah.
like slightly bitter, because we started with a malty profile water base, and we didn't make that much of an addition to really do it. But like,
No, the first time we went to balanced,
right,
and then this time we took it to slightly bitter. So this, I'm not.
So we're looking at about 39 IBUs on this. So that's
That's
fairly
pretty bitter for a
fairly
light,
assertive
light
bitterness
yawn
for something
or
like
a
this. But
blonde.
I don't feel like it leaves a bitter flavor in my
No.
mouth at all. I think it's really well balanced.
Well, I think that was one of the things that I took away with when we were tasting the ones that you brought back from England, is that they did have a little bit of minerality about them.
right.
Yeah.
And it did kind of add like a little crispness, I think, to the hops, So, I think that's was something that really I kind of added the extra punch that I think that you guys were looking for. So,
Well, and then also what stood out to me, and again, if memory serves, because it's been quite a few beers since we had them, but the American hop character that stood out in them.
yeah, but I don't think all of them had that. I think there was some that maybe stood out in your mind, but I don't think all. For the most part, a lot of them actually tasted like, to me, that a lot of them were noble hops.
Well,
so.
the ones that were cited as examples in the BJCP that we had, like the Summer Lightning and that kind of thing, had a definite American hop character to them. And actually more of like a blend, kind of like what we're seeing here with the EKG and the Centennial. There's a little bit of both. And what's that?
I was asking Greg.
Oh.
I had those swapped.
I think
I put two
Two
was
was
on
over
this
here.
side. You
Okay.
had one sitting there. So yeah.
I think it's an interesting blend of hop flavor where the EKG actually kind of props up the Centennial and brings out a different flavor in it. Like when I drink this, I don't know that I would know that there's EKG in it,
Right.
but it definitely changes the flavor of the Centennial.
Yeah, and it was like Greg mentioned. We focused on the Centennial for this second version just to give it that.
I think that was a real smart move.
Citrus.
That more
Wow.
citrus brightness and.
So so now we've got three of them in front of us here. What's the second and the third one?
Okay, the fourth one's just about to arrive. So the
Okay.
first one you had was the Liberty Bell yeast.
Okay.
The second one is USO5.
Okay.
The third one was
British 1, Omega British 1, so dry English ale.
and the fourth one is the Omega Kolsch 2.
I'm really surprised by the third one. That's a British yeast.
I thought you said the third one was USO5.
No, the second one's USO5.
Second one's USO5, and it tastes like USO5.
Yeah, it does.
Let me ask you this: in the USO5 sample, do you get more citrusy notes? I mean, like more like sea hop note.
I haven't got to it yet. Hang on.
To me,
Yes, I do. Yeah.
number 2. I mean, 2 has a lot of more like
Just a
citrusy
standard
note.
Two
traditional
does have more
American
citrusy.
sea hop flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Whereas the other ones don't have that. I don't think.
Well, the first one has it, but there's something else to it, and I think the EKG comes through a little bit more in it. Where the second one, which is the USO5, is more of a straight up Centennial flavor to it.
Which I mean, I like that beer a lot. I don't know if that necessarily hits the style mark.
No, and I think it's down to the yeast, right?
I mean,
Obviously,
because
'cause it's the
to
only
me,
difference.
this
but
almost
I mean,
tastes. This almost tastes like a pale ale.
Yeah, but I mean, the USO5 is
Well,
kinda,
a lot of them
Pretty
did
damn
taste
close.
like pale ales.
Yeah,
when
they're
we
pretty
had
damn
them.
close to being a pale ale. They're just
No.
lighter. On a whole, I think they'd be lighter. I think the concept there is they have lighter body than a standard American pale ale.
Right.
See, that
With
was
some of the
caramel.
same characteristics, but also with the same characteristics of British pale. You know.
Right.
That was one of the things where I disagreed with you guys on the last Golden Ale episode. I wasn't here for it, but when I listened to it, you guys really talked a lot like you didn't think that this style had very much in common with an American Pale Ale. And when we drank them when Nigel brought them back, I thought they had a lot in common with an American Pale Ale. I thought it was a very good blend of like a Pilsner and an APA, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think you can see all. I think that's why it's an interesting style because
Yeah, you're right.
I think you can see like German Pilsner. And you can taste some English bitters or English ale, and then also maybe a little American Pale Ale. So
I don't think it
It's-
has enough malt character to be compared to a bitter at all.
yeah, well that may be. I'm just saying that you get those English flavors.
But between
An
the
English pale ale.
between
more
the
interesting.
Believe
ale
it or
yeast
not.
character and the American hop character, I think it shares a lot with the American
Yeah,
Pale Ale.
I'm quite shocked, and this is one of the things you and I have talked about, Nigel. We've had some unbelievable English bitters that you never would have known in your life that had a Cascade in it.
right.
And I mean, it would blow your mind to know there was Cascade in it. And so
And I got to admit, I do enjoy them.
and so I think really what maybe distinguish or brings out different flavors in these hops is the yeast that they
Yeah, I agree.
they really, I mean,
and the
I
water
think-
chemistry, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think that number 2 is a perfect example.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
the 2 it just brings out all the sea hops, whereas the other ones are a
Really
little more
does.
muted.
The
you know?
most interesting one here, I think, is number 3, which is the dry British ale. It's like the bottom drops completely out of it.
I don't like that one.
It's my least favorite of the
It's
3.
it's got the
Really?
most bitterness.
Yeah,
It's
super-
very
It's got
drinkable, I
the
think, but it's,
thinnest body
yeah,
to it.
and it's
Yeah.
very bitter. I
yeah.
found like
yeah, you're right. It's got a
'cause,
lingering bitterness
you
to
know,
it.
my thought with the
thought
funny
the
thing
last
about
one
this
was
was I
wrong.
took this and I gave some of this to my mom, and they were over for our son's birthday, and you know she's a Coors Light drinker and whatnot. So I got a couple of light beers for you to try.
That would be a perfect one to give.
And she
to
gave.
And
She's
you
like, yeah, it's all right, but she likes the Kolsch 2 one better because it had more character on a whole, where you get more citrus and you get more everything, and it's drier
You know what's
than
crazy?
all of the others
that.
too.
That
so.
Kolsch 2 might be my favorite one, actually.
That's
I
again
think
the
it's
German
mine
ale
too.
last time was the one that really nailed it down with like a dryness quality that when it
You
finishes
know what's
dry.
funny, dude?
so-
I like number 3 the best.
really.
I really do.
You like the dry English?
I do.
I feel like the bottom drops completely out of that. It's missing most of the flavor and character,
It's
I like
and
it.
it's bitter and thin.
but
Yeah,
you know what? It also has a
turns
lot of
into that,
English.
you're right.
It has a lot of English to it. I think that when it comes on,
I think it
still
has
the
less English to it than the Liberty
but
Ale
it
does.
finishes. It all goes away. It just all goes away at the end of the.
I don't even think it's there to begin with. It's a strangely
See,
thin.
to me,
and-
up front, this one tastes just like a golden ale. To me, you get that effervescent, like that pop on the front end, and you get the bitter finish.
I think that more from the
and,
Kolsch too.
and it's
personally.
light, and it finishes real easy. I think that's just me.
My favorite is probably the Kolsch. I like the Liberty Bell, and I like the dry English. I'm not a big fan of the USO5 because I still get like the USO5 character. I'm not that crazy about, and any USO5 beer that's not hit just right, you know. But I think that
See that last one? It seems like it's got a lot of body to me.
really. See, I
Yeah.
get the dryness out of the Kolsch too.
Oh, I think it's the most in the middle of the three of them. It's got some character to it. It's got some substantial malt flavor and feel to it, but it's dry and real clean and crisp.
Maybe I got them backwards because I really like this.
Well, we'll let you try some more. The one thing I can say too that I like this time
We'll let
around
you
is
try
that
some more.
out of the four,
I probably
if you look at them, they pretty much look the same.
They do. Yeah.
What-
You know,
what
we
sh-
managed to get
Which
that
one
right.
do you think you've got backwards?
I don't know. I'm just saying
All right.
between 3 and 4 because I really
Okay.
I like this Liberty Bell. I think it has a lot of really good character.
The Liberty Bell is my second favorite.
I like to have it
Liberty Bell's my number
a
one.
little colder,
You like that one?
like because
best?
this. I mean,
I could see going.
I
could
think
see
the
going with
temperature
that
can make a difference, and that's one thing
Right.
it said is served colder a lot of times than say a bitter, which is not served
205
exactly
is my least
warm or
favorite.
anything.
There's
you know,
another
so-
growler in the fridge.
All right.
See, to me, when I do something like this, the ultimate litmus test for me is if I had a keg of this at my house, how often would I be going to that keg? And this last one with the Kolsch 2,
That's
I'd
the one
be
I've
worried
drank
I
the
would
most,
drink
yeah.
that one up in a week.
That's the one I've drank the most.
I-
I'm pretty
I
sure my
mean-
brother-in-law's drank a lot of it.
I mean, that's really, really a fantastic, outstanding beer.
I mean, I could see feeding the Kolsch to like average Joes, not craft
No,
beer
you're absolutely
drinkers.
right about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be worried. I think most of my family members would turn away the British ale. They'd go, yeah, don't like it.
It's kind of
But
bitter.
I think
Yeah.
they'd drink the heck out of the Kolsch and the Liberty Bell.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were the ABVs on these?
They're about
respectively?
5%.
Yeah.
Are
Um,
the across the board? Pretty
We all
even?
we started around 1050 and then we
Finished around
both
10
finished about
10:06,
1008,
10:08,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Which
never,
is a lot drier than I expected actually than, you know.
I would
so-
never guess that there was flaked barley in this either, and I think that's really good. I think that using that for the head retention, but using it to a limited extent where it doesn't affect the flavor in the mouthfeel
Right.
that
Right.
much is great because
that's-
they're very dry. They're all very dry and drinkable.
That's what we aim for. It was in the last one. The barley didn't change. What changed the most was the hop profile and the base grains. Because last time we had a lot more Pilsner, and this time we switched around to a lot more English pale.
Yeah, we
'Cause
switched to
we
10
felt like-
pound and 8 pound.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
it was
this is
10 and
absolutely
8
fantastic.
before, and now it's 10 and 8 the other way. And we felt like that it tastes better. It's closer. To me, out of all of them, and having tried them and whatnot, I really want to try Summer Lightning again because it's the Kolsch 2 one that makes me think the most of Summer Lightning.
That's exactly what I think.
That's
too.
the
Yeah.
one that right off the bat that I
You
was
want
like,
the real stuff.
and
well, aren't
even
you going like next week?
even the
September.
same is like
Well, this
trying
beer's not gonna
That's
be
next
good.
week, right?
trying this thing the same around
God,
is,
I wish
you
it
know,
was.
Yeah.
it's honestly not that far away from these. You know,
We still
No, I
have
don't- I
6
don't
more
think
it's
it
just
is.
got a
I
little
think-
more
I think-
heaviness to it.
Yeah, I think
you
we're
know.
real close. Now, I say we're real close, but again, I think,
Trying his Summer Lightning clone, that is.
I think
Sorry,
the
radio.
I think the malt bill we've got is a lot more complicated than even Summer Lightning.
Right, probably.
Uh,
And others, yeah.
yeah, and others. But I think we're as near as cracked it with this kit if we do put it together as a kit, and I think we've got wet and dry options when it comes to yeast.
Yeah.
It
Tell me
fits-
more about those wet options.
It fits in.
I
with-
like it wet.
I could, but they're too moist for you.
Moist.
I've just never heard it called wet yeast.
Well,
Moist.
you know,
You like your yeast moist.
I think what we've come up with fits right in the window of what everything we tested or everything we sampled when I bought all those beers back.
Right.
And anything we've sampled since then, I think this is right there.
You guys
this
have
is
absolutely
so-
nailed this. This is fantastic.
Dude, this
beer.
batch is so much better than the first round.
Yeah, I think so.
And I can say that because I have two versions they're the last of the keg that wasn't frozen. So I'm not sure how distilled this is. But I got two versions that what mine were the 1007, so the German ale yeast, and then the 3470.
I drank.
So I've
all
got
mine.
those here with me too. We can try those against these if you have some space
Well,
for that.
and here's the thing. I'll just be real honest with you. The first two, I'm out. I mean, I don't like the first two.
Oh, really? I like the Liberty Bell.
The last two, I really like. I mean, I really, really.
You know,
like
I
this
will
one.
say this: the more I drink the dry British ale,
And
number
they were-
3, the more I like it. It's
It grows
It's
on
dry and crisp and bitter.
it's
I
too
like it.
bitter. It's too bitter.
Too bitter for me.
Yeah, the other ones had that.
But the more you have
Like
it,
toasty bready
it is
presence,
drinkable. It is. I mean,
The thing is, we're splitting hairs here. We're taking
Yeah.
a fantastic beer and saying, well, this is a little less fantastic than the other one.
And we're
Right,
drinking
you know.
much smaller glasses on much smaller sips. Imagine if this came to us in a pint glass and we were taking larger
Right.
sips of
You
it.
know,
Right
I-
about
and,
go.
and I think the reason that I like the one with the British, what is it, British 3?
British one.
The dry British.
The dry English ale
Oh, sorry.
or whatever.
Is it
but-
British free, Greg?
one.
British
So it's
one.
dry English.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dry. It's the
Omega British one.
It's the equivalent of WLP 007.
right. To me, it has like to me the one with the Kolsch has a lot of esters in there.
Really?
To me, yeah.
You
Maybe-
might
maybe-
have them back to front then.
Yeah, I get a lot of fruitiness in the fourth episode.
Because the last two were
Don't
the
ever wipe
dry
back to
English and the
front, dude.
Kolsch.
Here, taste of that one and see if that's tastes the same as your third sample. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I don't dislike it. It's just
Old
my
German
least
ale.
favorite.
Now, since we have a moment here,
Chris.
Casey Kirkpatrick on the Come Brew It feed asked, "What's the name of the new kit?"
I think
It's
gonna be
3 Dead Lions.
I think
No,
we're actually
3
gonna,
Dead Poachers is what that.
I'm still
I
working
think
on
we're
it.
actually
right?
going to call it English Muffin Golden Ale.
Then it needs to be stud muffin.
So we're just gonna call it that weird golden ale thing. Got it.
I don't know. We're still working on that.
I think we should leave it up to Nigel.
Noggle is what.
Maybe that could be
that was
Patreon.
Do we have a
Competition.
temporary name for it, Nigel?
English golden ale.
English golden ale. Okay.
There you go.
That's
There
very
you go, Casey.
creative.
English golden ale.
It's very generic as well, but
Texas Golden English Ale.
for a
Right,
temporary.
so
Texas Golden Ale.
The one
Yeah.
I poured just now was the original
Golden Shower. There you
German
go.
ale.
No,
Yeah, I don't
version.
like that one.
That's
at
the
all.
German ale?
That's the original
That's
German
super
ale.
fruity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that one at all.
I don't dislike it, but
Compared
to
in
these?
yeah, this
yeah,
is not,
it's
this one
piece of
sucks
shit,
compared
yeah.
to the rest of them.
But that's
And
a
that
good
was
thing.
the one that everybody. That was one of the ones everybody liked the first time.
That's
That
a good
and the
thing 'cause
USO5.
It shows where we've progressed to.
Well, I think you guys, when you brewed it the first time,
it's just the yeast character I don't like in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're just being nice.
but
Or an asshole,
But
one
so
or the other.
Are you
so
pouring more beer, dude? Shit.
Well, this is the
I
last
don't
Well,
know, we
one.
have to
well.
drink it all.
Look at all the.
uh,
Someone needs to get a shot of all these. Oh, there we go.
Okay,
all right, there's
yeah.
a shot up there. Let's.
good Lord.
Not enough beer on this table, okay?
Get these bottles out of the way. So
Starting to look like a college frat party around here.
Yeah. Where's the ping pong ball? God damn it!
even worse, a high school frat party.
3470.
So this is the dry lager yeast version from the first time.
Yeah, which I have a problem with.
I'll tell you
This
something.
is the one I hated the first time, but it got better over time in the
But you
Right.
fermented a lager yeast warm, so
warm, yeah. But 3470 is the most forgiving warm fermenter, apparently.
apparently
so.
not. I mean, you guys didn't like it.
Well, actually,
you
right now
trashed
it tastes much better than it did even then. And I will say this: when I bottled these, I was trying to get the last of the keg out of 2 kegs, and I thought I had more in there, and I only got to fill up 3/4 of a bomber. You know what happened? They were both more or less had some frozen. I don't know how much was frozen.
She
So
ice-boxed it.
these got ice
Ice
distilled.
cold
So there's a
now.
good reason that these might taste a little more dense than they would have tasted otherwise. So
Man, it is so cold. Like
What the
shivering.
fuck? Are you serious?
it's
Oops.
set to 70 now. Shit.
It's
If you're still cold,
freezing.
you haven't had enough to drink.
It's just
Well, I think
because
that-
it's hot as balls outside.
No,
It's
it's
like
because it's actually cold in here. Am I
195
wrong,
degrees.
Nigel? I mean,
It
I'm
is
not
Look at
gonna-
this, Nigel.
It is chilly in here, yeah. But I've got the event right above my head.
Oh yeah,
So
Well, I can feel it blowing on me too. So
that's,
Whoa.
You can.
What's under the?
Jesus Christ, are you guys kidding me?
that's me.
Yes. Yes, we are.
What, did somebody fart? Somebody told us that the other day. What was it? Somebody bitching
Somebody
about our
drunk.
fart jokes. But anyway. I digress.
They can't be worse than
Fat
the wood
energy.
jokes.
How do you say it, Nigel? Fought.
It's fault.
Did you get one? Did you get a 3470?
Even when he
I
says
did not
fart,
get a 3470. No.
even when he says fart, it sounds sophisticated.
All right,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Stubby's had enough to drink because we're going down that road now, are we?
Okay, what was the
Yeah,
second
the
of
beers
the
are
second
kicking
batch?
in. The second one was a
I don't like that at
3470.
all, dude.
Okay, I like that one. I like that one.
It
a lot.
was, dude. I didn't like it before. In the keg, it was better, and then like this doesn't quite hit it
Not
either.
a fan, dude.
It was even less likable when we first tried it.
It tastes
I
a
thought.
lot like a lager yeast that was fermented too warm.
I think that's what I like about it, actually.
Damn.
All right, so one of the things that I thought was interesting when we were visiting with the Muntins guys, so this is progressively getting more and more popular in England. From what I understand, this style is becoming it's taken over. I mean, it's really becoming really popular. And one of the things that I think is it's kind of like their old England IPA, I guess. Anyway, I guess that wasn't that funny. Anyway,
What?
Whoa.
yeah, I guess we need to go now. But he said that we have a couple more varietals coming out right now.
Yeah, you suggested Propino, right?
No, Propino. No, it's something called Planet.
Okay.
It's a new varietal. It's supposedly somewhere in between a Propino and a Maris Otter, which I can't wait to try that out. I think that would be
So a Propino is like a regular pale ale malt, right?
Full pale.
pale ale malt.
Which
really-
is around 3 SRM.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many different varietals
Right.
too, but that's one of the most common English pale ale malts is Propino. But there's other ones out there, but this one's called Planet, and somewhere it's a new varietal.
Now, have I heard correctly that there's like a military ranking system around that one, like a lieutenant, a major, and a captain?
No, I hadn't heard that.
Okay.
But anyway, probably just.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also they have
Nigel's showing him something.
Show
I think
another
this is
shot of
Nigel's-
those.
Yeah.
Those glasses out there on the table.
You can
So-
edit that, Chris.
so there is some other ones called Extra Pale, which is becoming more and more popular for the New England IPA. So look for those to come to txbrewing.com soon.
Well, and really, when you get into brewing some of these English styles, excuse me, in my opinion, the base malt is the key
Yeah.
to bitters and that kind of thing, and that's the difference between maybe an ordinary bitter and a best bitter and a strong bitter, and that
Right.
kind of thing is the base malt character to it, and it's the difference between using a Maris Otter or a Golden Promise or a Propino or whatever. And I think you really need to use some of those different base malts and in a style like that where that's what shines through. That's what makes the difference in a bitter is the quality
Right.
of the base malt and
Yep.
the character that it brings to it, and then the accent of the hops,
Hops.
and then
And
the
a small
yeast.
amount of crystal in there just to
right, right.
round it off. But
Well,
yeah,
and that was
Or,
what
or
we-
some chocolate, or,
Yeah. Yeah.
that we've learned, and then the corn sugar in there. But to me, the base malt is the key to English beers, and
Absolutely.
so
well, and I
it's
think
nice to have access to different types of
right.
base malts like this.
Well, and that was one of the things that when we were visiting with the Muntins guys, I always find different, because we've become good friends with some of the German maltsters and some of the English maltsters, and I from talking to both of these guys, I think one of the things that's really interesting is, general consensus from talking to these guys is like, all you Americans care about is hops.
Yep.
You don't give a damn about the malt. You don't care. You just put that 2-row in there and just roll with it, and then it's all yeast or very little yeast. It's all about the hops, 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 hops. And I think one of the things that they're trying to really come into the American beer market is going, hey, look, we have different options for different types of malt. You can make your beer more complex by adding some of these other types of malts rather than and one of the things that I've even found in our industry, whether it being pro brew or home brewing. One of the things that we've realized is that crystal malts are just taking a dump. I mean,
They are.
Nobody is using them anymore.
And that's a good thing, I think.
Really?
Well,
I think they're overused. They can be overused.
They can be overused, and I think what it means is that more people are appreciating the value of what the base malt is. And so with a lot of these IPAs and things that are coming out now where you're not relying on this caramel malt versus hop bitterness and flavor balance, now all of a sudden you're letting some of the flavors from your base malt and maybe some Munich or some aromatic or something like that in there. These subtle and complex malt flavors come through rather than this crystal 40. Like a caramel bomb
60.
coming through.
60 was the one that
60,
60 was so
with just a bunch of
heavily
hops on
used.
top of it. I like that. And to me, when you're talking about brewing some of these styles that are very popular right now with the IPAs and that kind of thing, the base malt flavor is very important. And while you may not be able to do the brewlosophy thing where we're going to do this base malt, we're going to give it to 20 people, and can they tell the difference?
Right.
I don't know that it makes that kind of difference, but I do know that if you're really looking into drilling in, like what Greg and Nigel are doing right here, where they're really
The
trying
average Joe probably couldn't tell the difference between these 4 beers. Be real honest.
that's not
three of them.
They may
Maybe.
be. Well, I would
Depends
say
on
I'd
their
say
third
this.
one.
I would say this: they wouldn't be able to tell the differences. They could have a favorite.
But I'll tell you this though: the average Joe and the average brewer from 6 or 7 years ago that was brewing beer that was good enough to place in competition doesn't have a shot these days.
No.
Doesn't have a shot these days.
Yeah, I agree.
Today you've got to drill it down to this.
Yeah.
You've got to do what we're doing now to compete. You've to really stand out, to really brew a fantastic beer, which is what homebrewers now are putting out beer that's head and shoulders above what it was 6 or 7 years ago. And it's because of paying attention to things like the complexity and the depth that the base malt adds to it.
Right.
And getting away from crutches like caramel malt and that kind of thing. And
Well, I don't even know. I think you're generalizing, but I would say that caramel malt can be used properly.
right. Well,
But
that's
I-
right.
but I
it was
think- I think-
overused before is
I
what
think,
I'm saying.
Yeah, I think people.
It was heavy-handed.
People,
Right.
yes. I mean, when you overuse it, it can be overpowering. But these are all things that I mean, when we're talking to you guys and when we're discussing all these different things, what we're trying to do is help you make decisions on your brew day or on your recipe development based on our discussions, that we're talking about. So when you are able to go out and do your own recipes and stuff like that, maybe you'll have a little bit better understanding without having to do all the grudge work and the down in the trench dirty work of just really kind of learning. So maybe you'll have a little bit of shortening of the learning,
Or at least give
Right.
you a launching point, somewhere to start, and
Right.
say,
Well, like this kit. When this kit comes out, we're gonna have our options for you. If you're listening right now, everybody had their different opinions about the yeast use on this, which is really what forms a lot of the flavor for this beer. Everything else is going to be straight. If things go wrong in the batch, there's one way or another. If, whatever might happen if it gets overboiled or any other thing, that's one thing. But the yeast is still going to make a huge difference in the flavor character of this. So, plus, when we say the omega yeast, there's a reason we're using those. I mean, that's a huge pitch right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
They really ferment well and they lend great character. So
They
it's
really
like.
do, yeah.
That's a great thing. Plus, then like the Liberty Bell as a dry yeast. Like to me, I would say choices for this: Liberty Bell for sure. Not crazy about USO5 over here.
No, I wouldn't use USO5.
That was my least favorite.
Yeah, I would agree with it. And I'm a big fan of USO5 in general.
Yeah.
For this beer, I'm not a big fan of it.
Now,
It's gotta
liquid
have that
yeast.
characteristic
Liquid
to it.
yeast. Are we all with the Kolsch?
I think
yeast?
so.
That
I
Kolsch
think.
yeast was
Kolsch
out of this
yeast.
world.
So Omega
yeah.
Kolsch 2 is
Oh, so that was the Omega Kolsch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's their
I'm
German
still
ale,
digging.
I
I'm
mean.
still digging on the. I like this.
Now that's the
Well,
other thing. If you want another option,
English
though,
ale,
the British one it works. I think
It's
it
very
works.
dry. When it says dry English ale, it's
Yeah.
not kidding. It
Well,
dries it out.
and I guess and
You lose some citrus for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
from what's really strange for me is the more I drink beer, and I've been drinking craft beer for a long time. The more I drink these craft beers and stuff, the more I really want dry beers. I want them really. I mean,
I
super
agree with you on that.
ultra dry. Like that's what I used to hate.
They interfere
saisons.
less.
You've
with the
been
next
hanging out
one,
with
yeah.
Westlake too long.
No,
And
I'm
drinking
not, I'm not a
saisons.
huge. I'm not. Well, let's just say this: saisons are kind of a love-hate for me. There's some that I really, really, absolutely love, and then there's some I really despise. Just depends on. I mean, there's a wide range of saison.
Right, but I can back up what you just said with what you prefer these days, because there are so many beers that you've tasted lately, mine and other people's, that you've just said it's sweet. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yeah,
So your taste has gone dry.
yeah. I just like dry beers now, and I admit that.
This is a Pilsner fan, and
Yeah,
bitter
I mean, I
fans,
love
right.
I love light. I mean, I guess because I drink when I drink.
You drink so much beer that at some point you just want it all to be drinkable and easy. And,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
well, one interferes with
I
the
I
understand
next.
understand
with that.
that too.
If
Yeah.
you want to try more than one, then if they're just soaked
It's
down
like,
with a lot
dude,
of
when we
flavor, the
have-
next beer is just dominated by the last
It's like when we
one.
go to the
so.
Cap and Hair Christmas party, or we have our Christmas party here. It's just, man, after a while, you're like, damn, man, give me a freaking
Give me a regular
light
beer.
beer or something. I don't. I mean, it's just like overwhelming, like all of this sugar. I mean,
Right,
it's
but that's
like
that's
just.
during the winter when you're drinking stouts that are
Oh,
finishing at 10,
my
16
God,
and 10,
it's
18.
like- and everything's.
Right.
10
That's
or
why I got a
12%
fridge
alcohol.
full of
And
steel
sake
reserve at home.
beers and weird distilled blue things and
we all go through these curves and these ebbs and these flows in what we like to
Right.
brew and what we like to drink. And, there's times when I just really want a lot of stouts and big, full flavored beers. And there's
No, don't
times
get
when
me
I
wrong.
want Pilsners all the time,
I mean, one of my top three my top three beers is
Founders
Breakfast Stout. I love that beer, and I'll drink it. I mean, like mad. I love that beer. Absolutely love it. And although this year there was a lot of variances that I had. Every keg tasted a little different, but
You want me to write him a letter?
yeah, we should.
All right.
Some of them were more coffee, some were less coffee. I don't know what was going on there. If they changed
Dear
brewers
Mr.
or what.
Founders.
Those motherfuckers.
but no, I'm just saying that I think that I guess that's the thing is I go to these beer festivals and it's just like even when we were at Homebrewcon it was just like ugh.
Well, I gotta say,
God.
I haven't. That was one of the first big festivals I've been to,
Uh-huh.
and it's a different
palate
thing.
fatigue,
It's
I
a different
guess,
thing
you
when
know?
you've got 3 full days of I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna drink beer all day until I go to bed for 3 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that wear on you, things that I really, really like that I wanted nothing to do with when
Right.
we were there.
Right.
New England IPAs is a perfect example. I really like them a lot, and halfway through that, I was like, if someone hands me another one of these, I'm gonna pour it in.
well,
the,
that's
in the
you know what
garbage.
that's a thing though.
Mhm.
It's like while we were there weren't that many other options necessarily. They had variety of things, but
Man.
stouts and whatnot there were not that many.
No.
And there were not a lot of
No,
heavy
you're
dark
right.
Dude,
beers.
I mean, the
and
only
things,
breweries that we went to that had stouts or porters or anything, what we had,
There weren't
Rogue?
a lot. There weren't a lot. Rogue, yeah.
Fire, was it Burnside?
They
Rogue
had
and
them at
Burnside.
they had them at the different versions of things like the
Yeah.
homebrew whatnot. And they had them.
Not
but I mean,
many. Not many.
It's the same. It's like, man, I think I can count like 4 I tried, and everything else
Right.
is a lot lighter. There was no darkness to the.
Well,
I'd put that down
and,
for
and I guess
season,
you
I
could
had no
probably,
reds,
Brandon, you
you
could
know, or
probably
anything,
see
so-
why when I came back from CBC and I was like, okay, the jury was still out, but when I went to CBC, I'm out on the New England IPA.
I have a totally new appreciation for your opinion. Because you came back and said that, and I thought, I don't know what you're talking about. I love these things. I've been trying them every chance I get. I love. And then halfway through Homebrewcon, I'm like, if somebody hands me another New England IPA, I'm gonna pour it in the garbage. I just don't want them anymore.
Right.
Not that they're not good, just that I'm so tired of them. I just want
Right.
give me a Kolsch. Give me, you know. And there were then you go out into Portland, and there were so many breweries that had a great Kolsch and
Oh
a great
yeah,
bitter.
there was a lot of
and a great-
Kolsch's.
Yeah, it
A
was.
lot
Yeah.
of Kolsch's.
There were a
Man.
lot less New England IPAs than there were everything else.
Right.
They had everything there. So
But at the pro night, man, it was like every freaking brewery
Yeah,
out
they're
there
kicking
was
out
pouring.
You know,
pouring New
you
England
know
up
what?
there.
You bring up Pronate. I got to remember to throw out some love for one particular
what was
brewery.
that place?
Heater Allen.
Yeah, Heater
Man,
Allen. Yeah.
that was
their lagers were. I mean, it was funny because they were a lager brewery, and I think that's why things are changing, Brandon. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
Because these
Yeah.
guys, what did they make? They had a Kolsch, a Pilsner, and what else they had?
I don't know. I drank the Kolsch
A
and the
Keller
Pilsner.
beer, I think.
They
oh
were,
yeah, they had a Keller beer. You're right. Yeah.
Keller beer was great.
And the line was probably the second longest line of the whole freaking
But it was
conference.
totally worth it. Their Pilsner and their Kolsch were absolutely spot on, perfect beers.
Yeah.
They were some of the best lagers I've ever drank before.
Yeah.
And it's the worst name for a brewery I've ever heard before. It's difficult to remember. The only reason
Versus
I remember is
Freem
because I
family?
brought back a sticker. I put a sticker on my cooler here
it called
because
again?
Heater Allen.
Versus
And
Freem
it's not
family
even-
with a
it's not-
P.
Yeah, Freem,
Their
man.
be-
Freem was
Freem with a
dude.
P, which is fantastic beer, by the way. But
It was such a long line. I'm like, I don't care how good it is. I'm not waiting in that.
yeah, exactly.
But
That's
Heater
what it
Allen was a long line, but I thought I was really glad I waited in
Yeah,
it because
yeah.
their beers were just out of this world. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you have a chance to try,
If you
Heater
like
Allen,
lagers, yeah.
I highly recommend them. I forgot that I wanted to make sure and put them on the list and mention them
right.
until you just said that. So
But anyhow, you guys think it's about a wrap?
I think
yeah,
so. I
we've
think
been
so.
doing this for a while.
So
My
the,
God, we got so many more beers to finish.
The end
Golden
result
Ale-
of this is I think that when you see this golden ale recipe pop up on the website and
it's
you
probably
Yeah,
Monday.
give it a shot.
give it a
Yeah,
shot
Monday.
because I think that this could be a huge style in America. I think it's got a lot of the things that Americans look
Right.
for.
Well,
a lot of drinkability.
It's
very
a combination
approachable.
between a Pilsner and a Pale Ale that's beyond those things. It's both.
either.
It's beyond both of those things
That's-
as well. So
That's one of the things that I think you nailed it on the head because one of the things that I'm noticing a huge trend is everybody has a Pils, especially in Texas. That's a huge thing.
yeah,
And they're
Pils,
doing a
Pils,
good
Pils,
job
Pils,
with
Pils.
tradition. Yeah,
And maybe because we're traditionally German here in Texas, or there's a lot of Germans here, or family history. But I mean, there's a ton of that. So I think everybody's starting to appreciate the Pilsner. Whereas I think this kind of goes right along with that. It's different, but yet it's similar.
well, it doesn't have the soft character that a Pilsner has,
Right.
but it has the same drinkability
yeah,
and
the easy drinking.
yeah, and it's got bitterness, it's got everything.
I
Okay.
think it's one
Brandon,
of
what
those
is it? It's crushable.
Crushable.
No, dude.
All right. When I go to Germany in November, I'm bringing back all German pills that you can't get here.
I'll deal with
I
that.
think,
And
I
we'll
think-
crush them.
If you can bring back some Czech pills too that have diacetyl in them, I'd like to.
Yeah,
The Diachito.
There's only 2 of them that don't have it.
Uncle Diaceto.
Okay, so the kit should be available on Monday.
Monday-ish.
The
Monday the
discount code for it will be
Golden shower.
Golden Shower.
We should call it. We should have just said Nigel's golden shower.
There has
Monday
been
will
But
there has,
golden
16th of
showers.
July.
there has been a suggestion online that it's called the Nigel.
Yes.
Nigel.
That's Chris Robertson put in the Nigel,
I like that.
and I like that too.
I think that should be the name of the kit
I've
Yeah.
heard
at
worse.
this point because there was a lot of other things thrown around today. Than
We're gonna make
that
it
one works.
making plans.
Well, you could do that too.
With the Nigel.
Making
Yeah,
plans.
making plans for Nigel.
No, we just say making plans golden now.
Now we may tweak this again, but I think that we've settled pretty well
Yeah,
on
I
something
think this
that we
is,
like.
I think this is a
so-
good. This is a good.
on
good
a
recipe.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there'll be a slight tweak to make it more accessible
Easy.
to all levels of brewers.
Right.
So
Beginner's kit is going to be just the recipe, and then the advanced kit will be water additions with RO.
no,
Well, we will
we'll
give-
probably do the same kit all across the board, but we'll make a
Reference.
small change
Um,
to it that makes it accessible for everybody.
Okay.
But I really think that this is one of those beers that you can brew and you will enjoy it as a craft beer drinker, and you'll also be able to give it to people who are not craft beer drinkers,
Yeah,
and they
absolutely.
will like
Yeah.
it too.
Dude,
Yeah.
like I said, I gave my 2 examples to my mom, who's a Coors Light drinker specifically, and she was like, "Hey, I like both of these, but I really like the one that was the Kolsch too because it had."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You like that with the flavor character that has with the hops and everything?" She liked it, so
And
it's like she can
gets
dig
pretty
it.
aggressive if she didn't get a light beer, right?
Yeah, pretty much. She'll stab somebody.
The broken bottle.
She'll be smiling
I
when she
can
does
hang
it,
out with
but
her.
yeah.
All righty.
All right.
What do we got
Anyway.
coming up, dude?
All right, so future episodes, we'll discuss some options for quick soured Berliner Weiss and Goza styles and where you can take them because we've been doing a lot of that kind of thing lately. Nigel and I have. We're going to do a little bit more of that in the near future
Yes,
by the
we
sound
are.
of it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to also be working on some more experiment results to bring your way. I think we're going to actually have to do another drawing, probably not on air, but like for the guys who've already put their stuff in. We may as well draw again to if we have time to do it, we'll do a beer. And then the rest of you lazy bastards need to get your shit done.
Yeah.
That's
Get
pretty
drawing
much
some
it.
Mullen spices.
And then
I'm going to be on the second version of mine before y'all even brew your first
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
I have one minor thing that
What? You talking about me?
Yeah.
w-
I'm
we,
a lazy bastard.
Yeah.
Well, you, Cedric, man, there's like five
Yeah.
to go.
we had something that we'd tried to plan out back in December that I haven't heard any of y'all talk about as well, which was the Christmas in July of saving Christmas beers and trying
Yeah,
to
That,
make
was
Mikey.
a, that was a Mikey thing.
Mikey's going to be back in studio next month, so
I'll believe that when I see it. You
Supposedly.
bald son of a bitch.
Oh, damn!
He's in school.
He doesn't
so
listen. He
he's
doesn't
in
listen. He
school.
doesn't give a shit.
But I
He wants to be here.
I
He's
saved
too busy
I saved a
putting-
6-pack of Christmas beer.
All right.
It's been sitting in the closet. I don't know if anyone else did.
I don't know either, but that
I
could
hate
be our
Christmas
your-
beers.
I do have some beer sitting around. I'm pretty sure that could fit for
Beer
that. So.
sucks.
The only beer I've
Christmas is the saddest time of the year, man.
got. The only beer I've got is the
Wow.
the beer we brought back from Portland that we had at the house. So we've still got some more Portland beer to drink too.
You know what? I have that one sitting out warm because it was pretty aggressively bitter. I want to let that sit for 6 months at room temperature.
Are you talking about the strong ale from the show?
Yeah, Charlie
from
Charlie.
Charlie.
beer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Charlie beer.
Right. Well, I've got the stuff.
Yeah, I
that
liked
we
it
had
so
at the
much I
house
left
too.
mine on the table.
Oh, the stuff at the house.
I
yeah,
drank
that's
it,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That pale ale was pretty good.
Well, I will say this: you guys, if you've never been to NHC, they give you beer.
Yes,
Free,
In
yes,
Michigan,
they
they
do.
give you a lot of
Weird.
beer.
They
San
only gave
Diego,
us
they
one
only
this year, though.
there was one, and it was
It's
the
been years past, you
Charlie
get
beer
2
or whatever.
bottles.
It's a strong ale.
Well, but everywhere you go, they're pouring you free beer when you're there. I mean, they give you beer.
You are not short of beer.
yeah,
are
but
you, Ben?
it's so much more fun when you can carry like a whole shit ton of weight of beer just in your bag that you don't want to carry.
right.
There was shit. And then we were like, well, this isn't enough shit we have to carry around. Let's put a bunch of backpacks of audio equipment that's not going to work.
Did y'all
We
bring
were
enough
the-
batteries with you?
We were the weirdos with like
Jesus.
18 packs on our
It
backs.
did
so-
work.
Yeah, it worked for about 15 minutes. And then
No, it didn't. The whole time it worked. We didn't.
no, it didn't work the
it-
whole time.
quit working. We quit using it during the
During club night. Yeah.
yeah. We did that on purpose though, because we didn't want to carry all the cameras around.
Yeah.
But
I
everything
thought
else
we were
worked.
still carrying it all.
We're still carrying it, but we just didn't want to have it all carried
Anyway.
around.
And if you saw those guys that were just humping a whole bunch of gear around, that was us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking
yeah, yeah.
miserable. Yeah.
We need
Anyway,
some pack animals next time.
a donkey would be fantastic.
Donkey.
No,
One
llama.
donkey for one show.
Llama.
We need an NHC donkey.
Llama.
Donkeys
You'd like to
have
be
better
our
personalities.
We need a
donkey.
Kickstarter. Next year we'll do a Kickstarter for our
Kickstarter for a
NHC
llama.
donkey.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alpaca.
Llama. Yeah, llama
Ma-
or alpaca. Yeah.
Mikey
one
wants to go, so
Hey,
he can
an
take care of it.
alpaca.
then we can shave.
Alpaca.
Little like-
Will.
Sort of like vagina.
Oh shit.
We
Vanilla
could name
vagina.
the alpaca vagina
Why would you do that?
Vanilla.
because it'd be vagina alpaca.
Oh,
No, what-
shit.
Alpaca vagina. I mean,
All right, so Greg, why don't you tell us
All
what's
right.
coming
So
up
again,
next?
we did. Again, please be
God.
sure to check out our Patreon account at patreon.com/Come
the
and Brew It
rails.
Radio to help support the show. We have $2, $5, $10, and $20 options because every little bit counts. Plus, we want to reward you while we help keep the show going, get involved, and improve it. In fact, we literally reward a lucky Patreon listener with every live show and have a random drawing from the names of the $5, $10, and $20 patrons for a prize at the end of every month. You just have to be a patron. All right. Thanks again for listening to Come and Brew It Radio. Be sure to share with your friends on social media. Give us some ratings on iTunes and Stitcher. And send any ideas or comments to info@texasbrewinginc.com. Also, you can always check in on the Brew Days, the guys at their Brew
You could
Focus
always do
Facebook
that.
pages at Brew with Stubby, Brew with Brando, Brew with Mikey B, Brew with Chris, at Brew with Greg, and at Brew with Nigel, who has probably the most content available at any moment
Because
in
you
time.
lot are lazy fuckers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not disputing this.
So, come and brew it.
Whoa,
That's,
Archer.
and that's
Whoa.
that's the result of the Golden Ale episode.
Oh wow, damn, dude.
All right, so we got a whole lot of beer to drink yet. So
No.
Come and brew it, guys.
Come and brew it.